Hello, hello. Oh, let me put your video, ask to start your video. There you go. There you go. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Jai Guruji.
Jai Guru.
Hi. I'm going to go into a room where there's some light.
Okay. Speaker view. There we go. That's where we just have one at a time. Good.
John,
Yes.
John, are you in your new apartment?
Beautiful place.
Yes, I am. Yes, yes. Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank you.
Good, good.
So we have these talks about what exists and what doesn't. And I guess that's always sort of either on my mind or it comes to mind, but that's not that's just stuff that I guess within within me or within the mind that I kind of make up. Well, I don't even know if I make it up. It's just a possibility.
Because there's still identification with the body. Then there's like what exists and what doesn't exist. Because
Yeah.
even this nothingness that we talk about is a concept that came along with the body. Prior to beingness, there was no nothing, there was no nothing, because there was no concept, there was no words that had to be spoken or try to figure things out, because there was no mind that came along with the body, because you just were. And that's why from a perspective of a body, when we say nothing, it's like, oh, nothing. Oh, that's terrible. We have to remember that nothing is a concept that came along with the body. You are not body. The only way nothing seems scary is if you haven't known yourself or identified yourself in a real sense, and you're a body seeking yourself rather than knowing yourself in a real sense. Then all body-based concepts, including the concept of birth, death, and nothing, they're not here. All concepts, all words, all experience came along with the body, and you're not body.
But I'm not body, but I'm nothing.
No, but see, again, we have to say something, because when we speak, we use words, because we're in these body forms, we're in this illusion of existence, we're speaking. And in that, then we say nothing, because we have to label things, because that's just kind of comes along with the body. But prior to beingness, there was no need to label. There was no knowingness of any kind or anything other to know, because the illusion hadn't appeared before you.
Yeah, back in the, I read somewhere that way back when they first came up with the concept of zero, that it was treated almost like a satanic kind of thing. Like people were afraid to discuss nothingness or zero. Did you ever hear that?
Why discuss? Just remain with your selfless self. Because when we get into discussion, then we have to have logic. We apply our mind, ego, intellect to try and discuss concepts that aren't true, and then try to gain some truth in the untruth. So nothing's true, nothing's false, because in reality, this is a concept. All of it came along with the body, and you're not body. You were not body, you're not body right now. You never were a body, you're not going to remain the body, and you've never been a body. Your formlessness, kind of observing these appearances. And when these appearances are no more, there'll be nothing to observe, but you are. And then you say, oh, but that sounds terrible, because I enjoy experiencing. But you're not experiencing right now. Just as the dreamer is not experiencing anything that's going on within the dream. And he knows this when he wakes up. And when you know yourself in a real sense, then you absolutely know, I'm not experiencing anything right now. There's no experience, no experiencer. I don't have to be afraid of nothing, because nothing is a concept that came along with the body. It's kind of a pacifier for the mind, because the mind wants to say, okay, something, this something, which is nothing, came out of that nothing and dissolves back into nothing. But we totally lose the fact that nothing is a concept that came along with the body.
It's like we give being to nothing. It's just a concept, though, so it doesn't have any being.
Well, again, once we get in the illusion, spirit clicks with the body, you say I. Now there's a knowingness of something. But that something that you're knowing is actually just appearances. It's just illusion, because you are formless. And then again, if we give formless to mind, then mind says, okay, and this is why Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramakant Maharaj say, if at all you want to compare yourself to sky or space. Because the mind wants something, like I have to grasp onto something. This nothing? What is this nothing? Okay, well, nothing is a concept, and we're going to explain this nothingness or this formlessness by saying it's similar to sky or space. And right there, the mind should kind of be like, okay, sky has no properties except for it appears to be blue and it appears to have clouds and it appears, but there's no like beginning or ending. There's no, and then we start to try to figure it out. But remain with your selfless self. Once you know yourself in a real sense, all the illusion disappears. And I'm not saying it disappears like somebody had texted a while ago. Does it disappear like you no longer see the world? You see the appearance, but you no longer see a quote world that has some importance or has you in it as a living, breathing being. You're no longer caught up in that because yes, you'll see, if you walk outside, you'll still see your car. It's not that, oh, now I'm a realized person and I don't see this car. I'm driving in a car that I don't see with traffic that I don't see. And then wrecking this car and coming to the knowledge that I'm not so formless after all. No. So it's not like this. It's the world is here, but it's absolutely illusion. Just as if in a dream, you were saying, oh, but you don't usually say this until after the dream is over. But let's say within the dream, you discover it's a dream and you're like, oh, it's just a dream. That's it.
The dream has none of its own existence, but exists. Does it even, so, in a sense, as long as I'm using the word existence or being, I'm indicating something that isn't really there.
Something that has an appearance, and you're giving life to that appearance. You're giving labels to that appearance. You're giving significance to that appearance, rather than just seeing it as like dancing lights on a screen. And again, go ahead.
I was mulling over this stuff today, and I finally got some relaxation when it occurred to me that consciousness is kind of like, well, the sentence came out, consciousness is being, but like
only in the body-based illusion.
Yeah, but there is no being.
Consciousness is
There's
nothing.
no being. I realized that there is no being. There's only consciousness.
Well, there's no consciousness. Maharaj has said this. There's no consciousness. There's no unconsciousness. There's no being. There's no non-being. And then we say nothing. And then nothing has become this concept. But we have to understand that nothing is a concept that came along with the body and is a pacifier for the mind, or some kind of a pin on the board for the mind to say, oh, nothing. Yes, okay. So I am nothing, or I am everything. But both of those concepts came along with the body. Nothing, everything, are both concepts that came along with the body. Neither are true. In your true formless natures, there's nothing other than your own self.
And it's beyond words.
And everything else is just an appearance. Well, it's beyond words because you're prior to words. You're prior to the first word. The first word came along with the body. Once your spirit clicked with the body, you said I, and then you heard some other individuals say I, and you said, oh, it's I and them. But prior to beingness, there was no concept of this otherness or I. We have to understand that nothing is a concept that came along with the body.
Nisargadatta said that when you know you're nothing, that's wisdom. When you know you're everything, that is love. Now, these are just concepts.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, they came along with the body. Prior to beingness, there was no love, there was no wisdom, there was no knowing or no not knowing.
Yeah.
There was no concept. Because that's where you are. That you are, that formless you are, that you are, is unchanging. It's never moved. Then you came along with the concept of concepts with the body. That's why Maharaj says, just be normal, be simple, be humble, be always with you. Because then who cares about the debating or the knowledge or no knowledge or who's realized or what realization is or what peace is or what it, you just remain with your selfless self. The formless holder of the body. And by holder, you're just like experiencing the illusory existence because of this body. And even when even in every day, you don't continuously think of yourself as a body. There are times where you're just walking and you're just seeing. And it's usually not until someone stops you or some activity happens that you say, oh, I'm doing this, or I'm seeing this, or I'm speaking to this person. Otherwise, you're just basically remaining with yourself. Now, the flow of thoughts may be there, may not be there, but you're just remaining with yourself. Now, if you identify with the thoughts, because then again, you have created a someone that is identifying with thoughts about themselves and others. But normally, if you're just here. You're just here. You're But anytime we give it to mind wants to categorize, label, understand. And the funny thing is, it can only do that with the things that it knows, and it came along with the body. So prior to beingness, it cannot understand or analyze or anything else. And that's why when you remain prior to beingness, the mind ceases because it has nothing to think about. It remains and returns to its natural state. And the sensation of peace that's felt in the mind, as you're continuously remaining with your selfless self, you're sort of training your mind for the nectar, the peace, selfless self-intoxication. And then you have no desire to go out and outward, because why? And yet you can do things you're still doing. This whole move happened, and the whole time it was just scenes appearing and disappearing and appearing and disappearing and doing this and doing that. And now I've gone and bought some furniture because now I have a bigger place, so I need furniture. And, you know, these sort of things are just happening, and this is happening, and you go and you do this and that, but there's no sense of doership.
So
There's
it
no
was,
worry.
so it was all a relaxed transition, the moving.
Amazingly so that here I am in front of you. Now, I did put some effort because I was sitting the other night and I thought, in my new place, I can't put stuff on the walls. So what am I to do? So as I was watching television, the thought came, the box, and have the master behind you on the box and see how that is. And there you go. So that's it. So there was some kind of a thought in there, but it wasn't a thought about me. It was just kind of flowing of thoughts. And like Maharaj says, good thoughts appear, bad thoughts appear. I chose this thought and I said, okay, this is good. We'll see how that works.
So it wasn't like a problem. So it was
No. Now, if there is a problem, I'll ask Master. I'll say, okay, Master. Now, I absolutely know there's no separation between Master and anything. That is that you are. But in this body form, in this existence of whatever's happening, okay, Master. What to do in this situation? because then you just kind of then observe your body moving about and doing these things. This is happening a lot, in everyday life. Even when you're not knowing this is happening, it's happening. Because you are not a doer and there are no deeds.
It's not reason that's doing it. It's just everything working together, and it comes about.
Well, you're giving a pacifier to the mind, because you're saying, okay, master, now the mind is like sitting, waiting for some kind of guidance or something. That's what it does. And you are then just moving about nicely. You're not caught up in the thinking process or in trying to figure things out, because that's an illusion. Trying to figure things out is not true. Again, it is like the fish in the goldfish bowl that can only swim to this side or this side. And yet he wants to arrange the rocks and do all this kind of stuff to suit his needs, but he's always in the fishbowl. So you're always in the bubble of illusion. No matter what the decision is, no matter what the action is, it's always within the bubble of illusion, because that's the only place that a deed or a doer can even appear. Otherwise, you know yourself in a real sense. There's no deed, no doer. Who's doing what? Again, the example of the dream. You wake up and you know that, you're sleeping. Maybe you were running in the dream. Maybe you were even sweating in your dream. You wake up, you're dry, you're in your house, and nothing's happened. And yet you had the experience of running. You are not body is the remedy to the concept that you are a body. And I think Maharaj says it beautifully. If somebody comes to you and you're drinking something and they say, aha, I put poison in your drink, you'll be dead in 6 months. And you say, oh my God, that's very horrible. And then another person comes and says to you, if you drink this urine, then it will cure you of the poison that you drank. And you drink. Now, this is a silliness. As a matter of fact, if they were taking bets, somebody in a bar said, I bet you $100 I can get this guy to drink this other person's urine, because they say, oh, I just poisoned you. And now the only antidote is to drink this urine. And because this is the craziness of the mind, you're not poisoned, you're not going to die, but you have the concept that you're poisoned and you're going to die, which is then removed by this other concept of, if I drink this urine, I will not die. That's kind of a disgusting story, but it's a very good point. And it's in, I forget which book it was, but it's a very powerful story from Nisargadatta Maharaj. And the concept, I am a body, because I believe I'm a body. I'm not a body, but I believe I'm a body. So now we have the concept, you are not a body. And as they talk about, one thorn removes the other thorn, then you throw both thorns away. So even this concept that I am not a body is just there to remove the concept, I am a body. Now I can believe I'm not a body, but now because I'm not a body, then who am I? My investigation is that I'm nothingness. There's no body, there's no world, there's no anything. I now know myself in a real sense. Now I can throw both concepts away, both the concept I am a body and the concept I am not a body, and then just remain. And then don't hold on to a concept of being nothing. As we said, nothing is a concept that came along with the body.
About a week ago, it just came to me. I recognized that that everything is illusion, that all the things that I think, or all the people and all that think exists. I could see it doesn't exist. And it was a sort of a strange sensation, and it's sort of like my awareness of the stuff we're talking about gradually keeps getting deeper, and that was sort of like a deeper than usual or whatever, and it just of course I ended up making an experience out of it, and then losing the sense of the reality that there is nothing that exists. But I was recognizing it at that time that like people around me, they only think they exist to themselves, and I only think I exist to myself, but it doesn't really exist. Uh,
Well, there's
and
no people.
it was a strange sensation.
These are empty lumps of goo moving around with the formless presence that you are, believing yourself to be other, all occurring within yourself. That's why Maharaj says the entire world is projected on your spontaneous presence. And these are good progressive steps. The more you remain with your selfless self, the deeper and deeper and deeper it becomes, until the realization, oh, so that I am that. And that is a natural progression. Even as Nisargadatta Maharaj states clearly, remain with the I am, and it will open up all its secrets.
Yeah, for a while I was able to just sit in that.
Yeah, try it as much as possible. While you're believing yourself to be a body, you sit in that presence and you say, oh, I'm remaining with my selfless self. Because again, that is a concept too, selfless self. Because selfless self, the sensation, the just I, came along with the body. Which, as Nisargadatta Maharaj says, the I am is where all the trouble started, because then there was knowingness, and knowingness knowing other things, and then knowingness needing to keep itself busy, because now I know something, and I get bored very easily. As he says, the beingness is intolerable, because prior to beingness, you just were. No peace, no dispeace. No happiness, no unhappiness, no sadness, no happiness, no disturbance, no depression, nothing. And no nothing, because nothing is a concept that came along with the body. That just you are, that you are feeling, that just I.
To the mind, the nothingness seems intolerant.
Yeah, because the mind believes that it's going to be there experiencing this nothingness, which is, I mean, it's kind of funny because mind, intellect, ego came along with the body. When the body is no more, these three will no longer disturb you. But they're just appearances. They appear to disturb you. And that's why Maharaj says, you are disturbing the peace. The peace is the absence of any disturbance. The disturbance is this belief, I am a body. Then I'm disturbed with the concept, I am not a body, because now I'm disturbed that I have to find out that I'm not a body. But once I know I'm not a body, because I know myself in a real sense, the disturbance ceases, because I'm no longer trying to understand that I'm a body that comes along with all these relations and knowledge and experience. And I no longer have the striving to try and not be a body, because I am already not a body. But this concept that I am not a body has caused a disturbance, because I think I need to seek this understanding that I am not a body. But that's the reality. And so you're not a body. You were not body, you're not going to remain body. And when we say nothing is there, nothing is a concept that came along with the body that you are not.
then you get, say you get physical pain and it's pretty hard to stop that identification there.
You can have physical pain in a dream too. You'll feel pain. And then when you wake up, you may even have the remnants of the mind experiencing the pain that wasn't there.
I guess when Ramana's body was deteriorating and the cancer kept coming back on his arm or whatever, he wasn't really identified with the body, even though the body, I think, it was painful, but he wasn't identified with the body. So in that sense, he was transcending the pain, or seeing he wasn't the body, he was selfless self, so that the pain in the ordinary person, the pain would be like excruciating, but with him or someone who wasn't identifying with the body, then what about the pain?
Again, nerves and sensations, you're going to feel this. But again, I believe Nisargadatta Maharaj says that this cancer that he had was on this beingness, and he's not that. This lump of goo, in which now has a presence and an awareness, this body has the cancer. That awareness of the cancer is not the cancer.
Right. So the awareness is that it's not the body, but well, it seems like Nisargadatta and Ramana didn't really identify with the pain. They identified with the selfless self. So in that sense, I guess they didn't feel the pain. They didn't experience the pain. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could you say the body still experiences the pain?
I mean, there will be sensations. The body, as long as this body is available, pain will be felt. But, oh, hold on for 1 second. This is that was my son. I don't know if that actually was on our little video or not, if that popped up, but my son was trying to Skype.
Oh,
So it popped up with the Skype thing.
yeah.
There is a movement in medicine where they're trying to teach you that the mind-body connection with pain can be reduced or something if you're kind of like don't identify the pain as pain. It's sort of, it seems like a Jedi mind trick or something, but and it didn't really help me. They were trying to teach it to me, but they say
there's a me, there's a separate somebody, there's a separate body form. If you know yourself in a real sense, the body may be in pain, it may not be in pain, but you remain with your selfless self. You're not experiencing the pain. There's no experiencer of pain. Pain may be there, but there's no experiencer of pain. This comes to the same thing as the dogs barking. The dogs are barking, you get irritated that the dogs are barking. Now the dogs are barking in your mind because you're concentrated on these barking dogs. So you amplify this. So if you're in pain and you are believing yourself fully to be a body, having pain, worrying about death and all these sort of things, you're giving this all to mind, then this illusory suffering occurs because it's reminiscing or ruminating over and over and over, thinking, oh, I'm in so much pain. This pain is so bad. I wish they would take away this pain. But if you're remaining with your selfless self, this is the same as walking outside. You can feel raindrops on your head, but it's almost like the raindrops are falling on a roof. They're not actually falling on your head. There's absolutely the sensation that you're formless and the roof of the house that has some rain falling, but it's not hitting you. You are not getting wet.
There's sometimes I notice it seems like the pain or cold, say I get cold, I'm getting cold or I'm outdoors. Sometimes it bothers me more than other times. Like sometimes I'm just not identifying it as a problem, so it doesn't affect me so much.
Yeah, when you're focused on I am cold, that's a problem. Because now the mind says, I am cold. I am cold. We have to do something about this. Once again, this I is disturbing the peace. And then this I needs to be pacified by putting on a coat or putting on heavier clothes, and still may not be pacified. Oh my God, it's still cold. Even I put this coat. Now I need a scarf. Now I need this. Now I need that. Because all needs, all requirements came along with the body, and you are not body.
So I guess it's possible that the medical world is sort of picking up on this.
Again, the medical world is within the bubble of illusion. Maharaj has said this before about science, logic, because we can say, oh, science is starting to discover that there really is just one energy and there is not separate things and all this. But all of that, again, is just like your dream. In your dream tonight, scientists discover the cure for cancer. It's within the dream. Because again, you are not body. All these body-based experiences, all this body-based knowledge, all this body-based understanding is not true because you're not a body. So now, what is your primary purpose, your primary focus? To understand yourself, to realize yourself, to know yourself in a real sense. You are not body, you were not body, you're not going to remain the body. Brahman, Atman, Paramatman, God, Master, all these are concepts that came along with the body. Prior to beingness, you didn't know about any God. After leaving the body, no God is there. So you remain prior to beingness, your own selfless self. Just I, just I. And instead of trying to find out the latest this or the latest that, or reading the book and trying to figure it out, spend some time with you. Because this direct experience of your selfless self erases all questions, all experience, everything.